Hello, my name is Mick Neal and I'm the Minister of the Hoyland and Birdwell Methodist Chapel. Today I'm with Pete White, who's recently joined us to develop our work in the church and particularly our links with the local community. Pete has not grown up in the church, and in this conversation we hope to be able to share just a little bit about his life and his faith. So Pete, welcome.
Thank you.
You only started the job a few weeks ago, and before that you were running your own business, so you weren't then working in the church at all. Can you share a little bit about your early life and how you came to believe in God? Or did you believe in God all the time?
That's a really good question, and I wouldn't say I believed in God all the time. I went to a Catholic school, St Joseph's, in Barnsley, and so I was exposed to Christianity. We used to have mass and things like that, and communion, and I had my confirmation when I was 8 years old. But after leaving junior school, after leaving that environment, I wouldn't have considered myself a Christian, religious in any way, and I didn't have any faith. And actually I would have considered myself an atheist.
Right. So the work that you're doing now then is very different to anything that you've done before.
Yeah.
Why do you feel that for you now that is the right time to make that change?
Well, I think that after becoming a Christian in 2015, I've got this newfound faith, but I weren't sure what to do with it. And over the summer period, I'd heard about Cliff College, and I decided to go there after much wrestling and prayer. I bit the bullet and I went. And 3 years later, I've got a degree from that. Now, I knew God wanted to do something with my life, but I weren't sure what. And after that time, I did think I'd be in business for a lot longer. Then this opportunity came up, and I just knew it was the right time to do it. And I felt confident going into that this is what God was calling me to do.
So can we just go back a step, because you said after in the summer of 2015 when you'd become a Christian. Can you tell us a little bit about what happened to bring you to that point?
I'd had a breakdown in a relationship, and it really caused me to ask questions and do a lot of soul searching about why am I here, what does life mean, is there more to life than what I'd experienced up until that point. And so I did some soul searching for 6 months, a lot of time on my own, a lot of time thinking about life, really seriously asking them questions as well. And I found myself looking online and listening to testimonies from other Christians who have been atheists like me. They've been a catalyst, they've gone through something in their life, and that had drawn them to God. And their testimonies were very sincere, very truthful. And you could just tell that they were genuine people. And it just it resonated with me. And so I carried on watching them. And then one day it just struck me like a bolt of lightning. And I knew what they were saying were real. They were true. And that's when my Christian journey started. That's when I started reading the Bible. That's when I started to go to church. And I always say, I went to bed that night and someone else got up. God had done something fundamental in my life. It changed me. It changed who I was, how I viewed the world, and my complete perspective on life flipped on its head. And from that moment on, I started on a new trajectory where I weren't living for myself. I weren't being the captain of my own ship, but God then was starting to steer my life in a certain direction.
So it's obvious from that then that your relationship with God through Jesus is important to you.
Yeah.
What would you say to someone who asks you why this relationship makes a difference in your life?
It transforms your life. Before my encounter with Jesus, I thought I'd got life pretty wrapped up. I was comfortable financially. I didn't really have any major problems. And I thought everything was fine. but it weren't really. You know, I weren't right with God. I didn't have that relationship with Him, and since that point, it's just given me a sense of hope, peace. No matter what life throws at me and what situations come, I know that God's with me and He'll guide me through that. And I want to pass that on to others. That's my hope. And it has been from the moment I became a Christian. I want other people to experience God's grace, God's love, and compassion for us in a real way.
So that might answer what is my last question, really. This is a new job with lots of opportunities to talk to people about faith. What would be your main hope for this role?
I think I have answered it a little bit in that question, and it is to share what I've received with others. You know, I think a lot of people who aren't Christian, they think that, you know, we're out to sort of, you know, tell people how to live, or we're religious and we want to try and control them in some way and join our special club, but it's not like that. You know, it's a genuine relationship with God, and God pours out His love and grace on you, and that's what I want to share with others, because it's the best thing that anyone could ever have. You know, it's precious, and I just want to translate that to other people in a real way, and they can say, well, actually, I can have a relationship with Jesus. I can be a Christian, you know, and be touched by God's love and be in relationship with Him is a wonderful thing, and I would recommend that to anyone.
Thank you, Pete, for sharing so openly with us, and thank you too for listening. There will be more opportunities to hear people from the church in the next few weeks as they too share their stories about faith and how Jesus works in their lives.
Thanks, mate.
Thank you.